What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the boxing clinic once again. I'm definitely not putting my foot all the way back in the game, still on hiatus, but back with another video. And I was very shocked to see how many people are misinformed on this subject right here. So let's jump into it. Basically, way before Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs fight, it had already been finalized. Right between in their training camps, K-2, Tom Loeffler, Gennady Golovkin, Abel Sanchez, Team Golovkin, already had agreed in principle to fight Billy Joe Saunders in Kazakhstan for him to become the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. So, it was already agreed to principle. I reported it on my page to go back a few months, and it's there. A lot of people, told me to brush it off, but it was real. It was absolutely real. Especially Billy Joe Saunders looked lackluster in his other fight, and I'm guessing that he's been training all the time just for this fight. And it's supposed to be in Kazakhstan, Triple G country. And I heard that Frank Warren, don't quote me on this, it's a rumor that Golovkin was trending to make $10 million in this fight in his home country. And I heard on free TV in his country, for his fights in the past, I think the Daniel Jacobs fight had 12 million people tuned in. That's 70% of population in Kazakhstan. So he's very popular over there. So I kind of can really believe that number coming in, that he probably could make $10 million by Billy Joe Saunders in his own country. Especially he's a big star over there, and I really would tell by the live gate and how the tickets would have sold out and how quick it would have sold. So that probably would have gauged if the Frank Warren rumor offer was true, what he was, stood to make in that fight. But it's never here or there. I'm just telling you the worth or the potential why potentially or actually he passed up on that fight. If you don't know the significance of what the Billy Joe Saunders meant to Team Golovkin, it actually meant that he would be the undisputed champion, first since Bernard Hopkins, I think, or second since did Jermaine Taylor do it? Jermaine Taylor by Bernard Hopkins, however that went down, to become disputed. And that's huge, because that's why he stayed at the weight class for so many years. That's why you put the blood, sweat, and tears. That's why you fight on the mandatories to hold the belts. And that's why you do all that willing and dealing and all that, and the 10% or how many percent each section of the body takes from your purse. Because you didn't know if you hold a belt, they get a percentage of your purse. So that's in the past why you see some fighters decline to fight for some belts when they get so big or don't take the belt at all. So those sanctioning bodies do get percentage of the purse, and that was huge for him. I think that was a big fight for him. And all along, for the last few years, he's been shooting for a Canelo Alvarez fight ever since, Sergio Martinez, even though he was a very old man on one knee, ever since him, he was trying to get that WBC belt. And Martinez lost to Cotto. Cotto didn't want to fight Golovkin, released the belt. Technically, Canelo got it vacated, but it was versus Cotto. He lost the belt like the weigh-in of the fight. Canelo got the belt, dropped the belt because he didn't want to move up to 160 full-fledged. Squeezed back down to fight Lima Smith, then moved back, did some other shit, whatever he did after that, moved to 155. Then he's going up to 164.5 versus Chavez Jr., which is technically super middleweight. So, basically in principle, what Oscar De La Hoya said was, if you guys go ahead and fight Billy Joe Saunders June 10th in Kazakhstan, there's no Canelo fight. We'll never fight you. Fuck off. You're going to drop the ball on this one. And like I told you in the past, K2, Team Golovkin are horrible negotiators. Didn't even try to call Oscar's bluff. Never tried to call Canelo's bluff on the weight or the purse or anything like that. And then again, Oscar grabbed K2 and Team Golovkin by the balls, and they listened to him. After all this, they've been negotiating for about 6 weeks now on this fight. Ever since Daniel Jacobs fight, they've been talking about it, negotiating with numbers and back and forth. And Triple G, still holding out hopes for this Canelo fight. He thinks this fight is going to make him a global star, which I think could make him close to that. And for him to let Oscar dictate his career and basically dictate how they move over there, I think that is sad. And that just show you the level of novice negotiation that his promotional team does as well. You can, however you want to cut it, Bob Arum would let anything like that happen. The advisor Al Heyman would never let anything like that happen. Even an old guy like Lou DiBella when they got grabbed by the boss like that, or Eddie Hearn, never let another promoter with fewer cards in the deck as Oscar De La Hoya does now let him grab him by the balls like that and dictate his career. And for Triple G to pass up on an undisputed chance to become champion versus Billy Joe Saunders in Kazakhstan and turn down a lot of money in front of his fans for a Canelo fight, that it's not 100% definitely going to happen. They can say what they want to say. If he suffers an injury versus Chavez Jr., if he loses, or like a fake injury, say he broke his hand, he can't fight till 2018, then Golovkin, where you at then? You're in no man's land. Billy Joe Saunders is going to run from you and not give you that shot at the belt. Then you're forced to move up. Then you in a tough pickle. You never let another man dictate what you're going to do. I think he should have went on and took the Billy Joe Saunders fight. There's no guarantee that he's going to fight Canelo next, unless he has it in writing. I think he got played on this one. I think his team, he should fire all the motherfuckers for this one. But if the fight happens, he trusts the process, then his team looks a lot better. If he gets a fair shake, a better deal when he was fighting for, the deal that he was eventually looking for from the beginning, then I'm all good with it. But if he's a guy who don't get this Canelo fight, they run like chickens cut off with their head, like they've been running for the last couple of years about this fight, and it doesn't work out so well, then he looks like the damn fool. That's all I'm saying. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Oscar's just playing mind games with him. I don't think Canelo has any intention on fighting him. I think if the Chavez Jr. pay-per-view does over $1 million, they're going to try to low ball Triple G again for him doing $170K, using an excuse to low ball him and squiggle out that fight. Take the offer or leave it, like it's been for the last 2 years. And I think Triple G has too much pride, and his team has too much pride to take the offer. But maybe since they passed up on the Billy Joe Saunders fight, maybe this time they're willing to take the offer, call the bluff, and go through another obstacle with Canelo going to try to do him. But hopefully they can get the fight made. Business is all about risk sometimes, and it's the risk they're taking. So I wish that he would have fought Billy Joe Saunders, became undisputed, and did what he's going to do from there. But he chose this risk to get Canelo, and hopefully he gets what he's looking for: a good fight, a lot of money, and stardom, and some leverage for some guys like Andre Ward and other guys up in the other divisions. We gone.